Welcome to the State of NAIFA. I hope everyone's enjoying their summer and finding ways to spend time with family and friends. I look forward to all of our opportunities, even online opportunities like this one, for us to get together as a NAIFA family. I can't wait to see everyone in person at our Apex and National Leadership Conference in three months. Once again, I just want to always tell you how pleased and honored I am to serve as your national president. It's a historic time for NAIFA with our merger with FSP in January and the integration of Life Happens as our consumer education arm late last year. We continue our amazing 13 plus decades of success. I hope you were able to join me on June the 18th for NAIFA's 134th birthday celebration and toast. I'm so proud to be a member of this great association that I belong to since 1981. We've had a good first half of 2024. The NAIFA FSP merger has deepened our membership pool with more networking and professional development opportunities. We've expanded our NAIFA family and now include agents, advisors, accountants, attorneys, and other professionals, allowing members to team together to provide the right client care. We continue to grow new members each month and have the best benefits bundle and value proposition that we've ever had. All NAIFA members now have access to the digital version of FSP's highly esteemed Journal of Financial Service Professionals, which features articles by some of the top practitioners and thought leaders in our industry. Journal Live broadcasts bring you some of the content in webinar format. NAIFA members also now have access to FSP's world-class educational webinars, many of which offer CE opportunities. NAIFA's merger with FSP has greatly expanded our professional development benefits. Our addition of Life Happens brings NAIFA members even more benefits. Everyone knows Life Happens as the creator and facilitator of consumer-friendly events like Insure Your Love Month, Disability Insurance Awareness Month, and Life Insurance Awareness Month. As we approach Life Insurance Awareness Month in September, it's important to know that NAIFA members will have access to world-class consumer outreach materials from Life Happens that will help you connect with your clients and consumers to help them understand the importance of life insurance and a financial plan. Life Happens also produces real-life stories. So if you have a compelling story about how life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, or annuities made all the difference in the world to a client of yours, please share your story at lifehappens.org. As I mentioned on our last State of NAIFA, NAIFA has relaunched the LUTCF designation. That's NAIFA's premier designation for early career designation. LUTCF provides critical prospecting, selling, and practice management skills, along with a thorough working knowledge of life and multi-line products and services. NAIFA's completely reworked the LUTCF coursework so it's modernized and updated to meet the needs of today's agents and advisors. Graduates of the LUTCF program report increases in their earnings, in their client base, and even their job satisfaction after completing their studies. Now, I know many of us are not new to the business, or we may have already have the LUTCF, but this is a great program for us to recommend to our colleagues. If you're an agency manager, you can encourage your newer agents and advisors to pursue the LUTCF. It will really give them a leg up. There's another way you can get involved. The LUTCF program is looking for experienced financial professionals to serve as mentors to LUTCF candidates. Being a mentor is very rewarding and requires a time commitment of only 2 to 3 hours a month. To learn more, log into NAIFA member portal and click volunteer, or contact NAIFA's Brendan Burnett at bbernat@naifa.org. Advocacy training is another benefit we are pleased to offer NAIFA members. Grassroots is a critical part of what NAIFA members do to serve the best interests of their clients. Your work ensures that laws and regulations protect their financial security, not harm it. We don't expect you to do it on your own. The Financial Security Advocate Academy covers everything from the basics of how government works to tips for setting up meetings with lawmakers, to strategies for developing long-term relationships and serving as a trusted resource. Complete the course and earn your FSA badge to display on social media and your NAIFA Connect online profile. The next FSA Academy webinar is July 24th, and you can register by logging into the NAIFA member portal and clicking on advocate/grassroots. The timing of the FSA Academy is perfect because it gives you a chance to up your advocacy game right before the start of NAIFA's summer and district meetings. In districts are during the August and September summer congressional recess, and we take our message to federal lawmakers when they are visiting constituents in their local communities. Members can sign up to participate by logging into the member portal at NAIFA.org and clicking on advocate/grassroots. And if you're not a NAIFA member, you can still take part and email us at advocacy@naifa.org. Once again this year, we will be conducting our NAIFA Summer in Districts Challenge. State grassroots chairs should have received a notice from our GR team telling you how to make your chapter's in-district meetings pledge. Another great reason to get the FSA badge is that it's one part of earning your membership in NAIFA's Triangle Team. The Triangle Team recognizes NAIFA's most committed members who live our association's expressed ideals. Membership is graduate from Lilly and have recruited at least 3 new members. And actually, a lot of members have done both. So if you've graduated from Lilly and if you've recruited at least 3 new NAIFA members, then you meet the membership requirement. Grassroots, you earn your Financial Security Advocate badge. And then this NAIFA Pack, you be a contributor, and that completes the qualifications to become a Triangle Team member. So graduate from Lilly or have recruited 3 members, earn your Financial Security Advocate badge, and contribute to NAIFA Pack. I mentioned it before, but I'm very excited that NAIFA is taking our Apex conference back to the Arizona Biltmore, September the 19th through the 21st. This year, Apex is bigger and better than ever. We have a great lineup of main stage speakers: David McKnight, an expert in zero tax retirement planning; Nathan Gonzalez, editor and publisher of Inside Elections; Amy Florian, CEO of CoreGenius, a company that specializes in training professionals to support clients during the toughest times of life; Marcus Ogden, a successful business coach and former NFL player; and the highly entertaining and returning Morris Morrison. Apex focuses on growing attendees' business and leadership skills, but this year your registration gives you even more. We are combining NAIFA signature events, Apex, the National Leadership Conference, and the Belong Awards Gala. The NLC and Belong provide leadership training and planning and recognize the great work of our fantastic NAIFA volunteers and award recipients. It's going to be an amazing time, and I can't wait to see everyone back at the Biltmore. Now, speaking of awards, I have a very special announcement to share with you. Many of you may be aware of this because the official announcement was early this week, but for others, this may be breaking news. It's my great pleasure to congratulate the 2024 John Newton Russell Memorial Award recipient, a longtime loyal NAIFA member and past NAIFA National Treasurer, Matt Tassi. The John Newton Russell Memorial Award is the highest honor our industry can bestow on a living individual. I had the pleasure of serving with Matt on the national board, and he's a true servant to our industry and a true servant to our association. And this is a well-deserved award, and I look forward to seeing him receive the award at the Belong celebration. Now I'd like to introduce NAIFA CEO Kevin Mayu with some association updates.
Thank you very much, Tom. That was a great report, and I'd also like to congratulate Matt. Piling on to more of what you said, just an absolutely incredible professional and absolutely incredible dedicated NAIFA member, but just a great person. And so, Matt, congratulations on receiving the John Newton Russell Memorial Award. I can think of nobody more deserving of that award than you. I did want to talk about a few things that are going on within the NAIFA universe and the industry. First of all, since our last State of NAIFA address, the Biden administration and the Department of Labor have finalized the Department of Labor's fiduciary only rule. You all might have heard a little bit about this. NAIFA was very quick and decisive and acted once the rule was being considered, of course, through testimony, through meeting with department officials, through our work on Capitol Hill. The rule went into effect. It is just as bad as the last rule that was put in place during the Obama administration. And then NAIFA partnered. Actually, NAIFA Texas, NAIFA Fort Worth, NAIFA Dallas, NAIFA Piney Woods of East Texas. We partnered with ACLI and other partners, and we filed a lawsuit against the rule, seeking that the rule be invalidated, that we have a preliminary injunction that's put in place, and that the rule itself be vacated. I want to thank Doug Massey, NAIFA's president-elect, who has been instrumental and actively engaged in this since day one. Doug and I both provided affidavits in support of our injunction request, but Doug is also serving on the steering committee, working with the general counsels for each of those groups that are involved in the litigation to help the courts make the Department of Labor do the right thing and strike the rule down. It'll be devastating to lower middle income Americans, and we're hoping that the courts again tell the Department of Labor they don't have the authority to do what they did. Just like we did in 2016, we've got your backs, and we're leveraging all three branches of government to get the right public policy apparatus in place so you can better serve your clients. And we're doing that again with the Department of Labor's fiduciary only rule. Speaking of advocacy and the great work that we do, and before Diane gives her update, I do want to thank all of you that participated at our congressional conference in May. Absolutely incredible impact NAIFA members continue to make when we go to Capitol Hill each year. As you all probably know, the congressional conference is the industry's largest legislative fly-in each year. This year we brought about 500 advisors from, I think, 49 of the 50 states to Capitol Hill, where we discussed with policymakers in both the House and the Senate, both members and their key staff, the importance of things that impact you and your clients every single day. We did talk about the Department of Labor's fiduciary only rule, but we also encouraged members of the House to get involved in the House Financial Literacy and Wealth Creation Caucus. As a result of our actions, several additional Congresspeople joined the caucus. In fact, one of them, Mike Simpson from Idaho, said that he joined specifically because NAIFA members asked him to do that. And that's great. The more Congresspeople we can educate, again, about the need for protection products, the need for people to be financially secure in life, the better. And the better it'll be for you as advisors, but also the better our country will be by having more people be financially prepared for life. We also talked about the great addition into the NAIFA family, like Tom talked about, by adding Life Happens to our official NAIFA family. It's a great way to tell stories and talk about, again, how policy decisions, and to also talk about, again, how this industry impacts everyday Americans every single day. And to have consumers / real people tell stories is incredible. And Life Happens gives us that opportunity in NAIFA. Again, we continue to build momentum. So I'd encourage you all, get involved and do those in-district meetings this summer back at home. Meet with your members of Congress, help tell the stories, and let's hope that we can continue to convince Congress to make the right decisions related to the issues that we're facing today and big issues that are going to face next year as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, at least many of the key provisions of it, expire. And we need to make sure that our products are given the right tax treatment in the tax code. While we were in Washington, D.C., a lot of our members did have an opportunity to visit our beautiful new headquarters in the Roslyn section of Arlington, Virginia, right there on the Potomac River, overlooking our nation's capital. This is a state-of-the-art facility that not only houses our headquarters staff, but on top of it provides a great functional space for NAIFA members and NAIFA chapters to be able to go and gather. We're pleased to offer that opportunity to any of you all and to your groups and any chapters that might be coming up to the area. We did have our NAIFA Greater Washington chapter, go figure, they're in the area, has utilized the facility several times. NAIFA Puerto Rico, actually several of their members came up and did a visit and used the facility a few weeks ago. We had some of our members from Ozark Life come and they used our rooftop for a reception. A lot of great stuff there. We've also brought college students up there to talk again about the profession and how they should consider financial services as a career path. So we're making great use of that space. If you're ever in the area, please come see your home at 1000 Wilson Boulevard, Suite 1890 celebrating the year that NAIFA was founded 134 years ago. Come join us. We believe in being accountable and reporting back on our progress. Every quarter, you should receive our enterprise accountability report that talks again how we're achieving the key goals related in our NAIFA strategic plan. Our current goals and our current plan talk again about membership growth, brand amplification, and enhancing the member experience all across this country. The latest edition, which was for Q1, went out already, but our Q2 report, which goes through the end of June, will be wrapped up in a couple of days, and we should have that distributed by mid-July. So we're looking forward to that, and you can again see the progress that we're making, the things that we've achieved, some of the obstacles that we've encountered, and what our plan is for the quarter ahead to make sure that we stay on track for achieving the goals in the NAIFA 2025 strategic plan. And speaking of that, the 2025 plan, as you all probably know, is coming to a wrap up because it's called NAIFA 2025. So we have begun planning for NAIFA 2030. We had a group of NAIFA leaders, both chapter members from across the country, some of our field execs in our chapters, some of our headquarters staff, and a lot of other folks that are involved in the industry. Some key industry leaders like the president and CEO of the American College, senior leaders from ACLI, senior leaders from some of the major company sponsors and supporters of NAIFA. We've gathered them together, and we've spent some good time over the past couple of months talking about not only where NAIFA is today, but where we need to be in the next 2 years to make sure that we're not just relevant, but NAIFA is indispensable to the success of advisors and in seeing the industry do well, again, so we can serve those 90 million American families. So work, again, is underway on the NAIFA 2030 strategic plan. The draft of that plan has been circulated to a number of people, not only just the committee, but also our trustees, our key staff at the headquarters, and a lot of our key and core stakeholders that invest in NAIFA to ask for their feedback. We're going to be compiling all of that feedback and then putting out an exposure draft that'll be circulated to the NAIFA enterprise, all of you all, next month. We'll also hold a webinar to talk again about the key elements of the draft, to solicit your feedback, to get your input, to figure out where we hit things right, but also where we might need to massage things to make things better. Because our goal, again, is to make sure that NAIFA is where the puck is going to be in 2030, so that we can be poised as an association and we can better prepare you for success as we move forward. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. I want to thank you all for your membership in NAIFA and your commitment to not only this association, but this great profession. You are the reason that we do this job every single day, and we're getting better and stronger because of your engagement. So thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to introduce one of our absolute superstars on our headquarters team, Diane Boyle, who is our Senior Vice President of Government Relations, to give you an even deeper dive into what we're doing on the government relations front. Diane, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Typing answers to Michael Morse. Michael, if you'll put your email in the chat box when I'm done, I'll send you the study that we have on the DOL of a fiduciary only rule and some of the concerns and the studies that we've done with previous rules and how it's impacted people. So if we talk about NAIFA's advocacy and shifting to sort of what we're focused on, it's an election year. So Congress, a lot of the legislation that we see is probably going to be a lot of messaging and not so much on substance that would impact our industry. We're seeing a lot of the funding bills for the fiscal year 2025 going through. One of the things that we see in there is on the labor H bill, a provision that would prevent the Department of Labor from actually using funds to implement or administer the DOL rule that they have in place. And I don't think that that's going to go through. It's not going to make it all the way through the process, but that's some of the messaging that I'm talking about that we're seeing in Congress these days. If you look at the Department of Labor's fiduciary only rule, we're seeing, Congressional Review Acts, also something that I don't think is going to make its way through the process, as the president would have to sign that, and it's very unlikely that the president would sign a rule to overturn something that his administration had put in place through his agencies. One of the things that we are watching, though, is the NAIFA's challenge that Kevin mentioned, could be a path that would really overturn that rule. And we still have many members that operate as fiduciaries, and we support them in that capacity. It's the expansion and what the Department of Labor rule does specifically that we have concerns with. One of the other issues that you'll see, and we're watching this with the Supreme Court, is that around the Chevron doctrine. And what that would do is it could influence court action on the fiduciary rule. So it would determine the amount of deference that the courts have to give to agency rulings in general. So we're watching that really closely. The Supreme Court is it's that time of year they're kicking at a number of different provisions, and I'll share a little bit of that on how it impacts tax reform as well. One of the things that we saw just this morning, too, in the legislative arena, is there is privacy legislation that's being considered in the Energy and Commerce Committee. There was actually a markup scheduled. The bill that they were marking up was bipartisan, but it was controversial, and it was very concerning to the industry because of the way that it's written. Devil's always in the details. That bill, that markup, was canceled this morning. So we could see, as I said, it was controversial. There were concerns by the leadership. There were concerns by a number of members of Congress with the way that the bill was moving through and was going to be marked up. And usually when you see a markup canceled like that, it tends to indicate that it wasn't going to make it through in a favorable way. So they pull it and they don't discuss it. And for us, because we have some concerns with it, that would be a positive development from NAIFA standpoint and the industry's standpoint, which sort of leads us to where we're really seeing action. And that's with tax challenges and tax reform that we know is going to come about in 2025. As you know, many of the provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expire in 2025. And we're taking steps now to make sure that we're addressing this enormous risk to Main Street Americans because of the potential adverse changes to tax policy and the fiscal pressure that Congress faces to raise taxes and increase government revenue. If you look at the deficit, these are things that members of Congress are weighing and need to be considerate of as they look at a tax bill in 2025. We've also seen that some of the challenges are intensifying. The Supreme Court, dodged a definitive answer on the legality of whether taxing unrealized gains in it is legal or not. And they did that with the Moore decision versus the U.S. And that came out last week before last. And they just simply didn't address that provision. There was a case where they addressed it in a narrow way. So that still leaves it open. So we then saw last week some of the Senate Finance Democrats met to consider what their priorities and strategies would be regarding tax reform. And it came out that their thoughts were that the tax bill must go beyond just existing extension of TCJA with or without modifications, and that it must include revenue raisers to pay for new initiatives and to address the deficit. So that means that they're going to be looking for revenue. And you've heard me say time and time again, Congress doesn't have bake sales. The only way they generate revenue is through the tax code. And so it's incumbent upon us to make sure that they understand the value that our industry provides. There's also been some interest in addressing what some deem as a tax shelter uses of private placement life insurance. That's on the table. Individuals, family-owned businesses, offices, all risk unprecedented changes to state and gift tax rules in 2025. So we're preparing now for those challenges, and NAIFA is and will continue to be deeply engaged on defending the current tax rules governing life and health insurance, annuities, retirement savings, employer-provided benefits, which is also something that's sort of been looked at as a target. And we'll keep you posted. We're heavily engaged on that. And we're going to make sure that we do that. Our next step would be through our NAIFA and district meetings that Tom had mentioned. It's really important for individuals to come and for members of Congress to hear from their constituents. We had a great showing at the congressional conference. As Kevin mentioned, we laid the conversation in the background on how important our industry is to protecting families. And so the next step is to make sure that we're continuing those conversations by participating in NAIFA and district meetings. NAIFA advocacy does not like to take our foot off the pedal, if you will. We continue our momentum. And after the congressional conference for the third year in a row, we're doing what we like to call the NAIFA in-district chapter challenge. And what that is we're trying to make sure that we're meeting with as many congressional offices back in district as possible. And so our chapters sort of compete as to how many meetings they're going to be able to schedule during this in-district work period. The in-district work period, which typically happens over the summer months, as Tommy mentioned, August and into September, is a great opportunity to meet with our legislators back home. It continues building those relationships and with the member and their staffs, and it is very useful in closing our gaps as well as building our bench strength. And by closing gaps, what I mean is NAIFA has the goal of making sure that we have a NAIFA member who has a documented relationship with every member of Congress. And, I'm proud to say that we have 95% of Congress covered in that manner. Now, of course, we have elections in November and we'll start this process all over again. But these in-district meetings are really helpful in making sure that we're building our bench of NAIFA members who have relationships and can help lawmakers understand the impacts of the decisions that they're going to make when they vote on really tough issues and complex issues that our members understand very well, because you sit in front of clients day in and day out and talk about it. This year, we're making a big push to make sure that this is the largest in-district meeting effort to date. And you can even bring along a candidate for NAIFA membership so that they can see what this amazing organization does firsthand. So reach out to your colleagues, make sure that they're participating, make sure that you're signing up. There's a sign up form if you go in. It's just indicating that you have a willingness to participate in an in-district meeting. As our grassroots chairs schedule those meetings, they'll be back in touch with you to let you know when they're scheduled, invite you to attend, and hopefully it works with your schedule and you're able to participate. Again, the grassroots component of what NAIFA does is so incredibly impactful when working with legislators to make sure that we're getting favorable legislation and regulation put in place. So I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to bring along a friend and grow our influence. And then if you switching a little bit, because as you know, NAIFA doesn't operate just in the congressional level. We're in the interstate meeting with the NAIC and INQUIL and establishing sort of those model legislations and regulations so that our fingerprints are on those models before the states start adopting them. And we're also very active on the state level. Our state chapters are started wrapping up their state legislative days for those states that have state legislatures in session this year. And we brought back what we like to call our state give and take webinars. And what that does is it's an opportunity for our state lobbyists to all get together and share what's going on in their states so that we can benefit from what one state is doing that may be impactful in another state. Because we sort of see issues come about in waves. When one state adopts it, we want to be able to learn from each other what concerns were brought up so that we can have those answers ready to provide if the issue pops in another state. So it was a really robust exchange of information, conversation, and we'll continue those on a quarterly basis, bringing our state lobbyists, state leaderships together to share our information for the benefit of the organization that we love to call NAIFA. And it works on behalf of everyone. Tom, I think that's really all that we have going on sort of the advocacy front. Obviously, presidential debate tonight. We'll start seeing the conversation from the presidential candidates on what direction they would take if they were leading. So we watch that. We encourage our members to participate in elections, make sure that you continue those relationships even if your candidate doesn't win, because very often if your guy isn't the one that makes it to Congress, they probably are in greatest need of your information and counsel because they don't understand our industry as well as perhaps the individual that you were supporting. So anyway, back to you, and look forward to talking with everyone soon.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Kevin. But most of all, thank you to all the volunteers and our other team members, our execs around the country. Every time I speak, I quote the quote that says, volunteer is someone that does more than they have to because they want to for a cause they consider good. That's what our volunteers do. Now, it was just June 18th, 1890, our association was founded by volunteers. A group of volunteers in Boston felt like they wanted to meet. They saw the need for a national organization. They invited members from Philadelphia and New York to a meeting, and they decided to invite other chapter leaders around, and that's how we birthed a national association. Our national association was created because of concerns about ethics in the industry. Many think it was founded on advocacy, but it was founded by a group of volunteers that wanted educated and ethical agents and advisors in our industry. And now, for our entire history, we were built to greatness on the backs of great volunteers, and we continue to be dependent upon that. We've evolved a great deal, but our success still depends upon our volunteers. So let me encourage you to that the best contact is that member-to-member contact. And let me encourage you to stay active in the summer. We've had a culture of kind of taking it off in the summer, but we got to keep our momentum going. There's some programs going on now for membership, but let me encourage you to stay involved, stay plugged in. We really, really, really appreciate the efforts of our volunteers. Our success is on your shoulders, so we need you. That's what I always say. We need you. So thanks for your time. I know you could have been anywhere right now, and we appreciate you giving us your time to try to keep up with what's going on. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of your week.